Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Talking Astros baseball here on my YouTube channel, as I'm a big Astros fan. For those of you who don't know me, like my videos down below, comment, subscribe. Just check it out. Give my channel a try, and you may see that you like it. Anyways, getting back to the Houston Astros. Well, I'm going to start with there's not much on the trade front. I know the Astros have been linked to several names out there, obviously, but they are quiet so far on the trade front. So I was hoping by the time I recorded this video here on Monday afternoon that there'd be some trade news to break to, get some excitement going. But unfortunately, there's not. So we're going to start with an Astros versus Dodgers series recap. And that began on Friday night, a rematch of the 2017 World Series, where the Astros won Friday night's game 5-0, taking game one of the series. Framber Valdez was dominant, throwing 6 1/3 innings, allowing 4 hits, 2 walks, while tying a season-high 10 strikeouts. He tied that season-high 10 strikeouts in his other outing against the Miami Marlins a couple starts back. Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers stud, everyone knows who Ohtani is, led the game off with a single as he went 2 for 3, including a walk, in the Dodgers' loss. After the leadoff single, Framber would go on to retire 16 straight Dodgers hitters. As I talk about it all the time and previewing Framber's starts on the year, as I've done most of the season here on my channel, which Framber is going to show up? Is it going to be good Framber or is it going to be bad Framber? Well, fortunately for the Astros, good Framber showed up on Friday night as the Astros ended up winning the game 5-0, as I mentioned. Now, Framber did get into some trouble in the top of the 7th. I think Espada probably could have pulled him after the 6th. I believe he had 84 or 85 pitches. He tried to stick with them because he wanted to get some more length out of his starter. But unfortunately, after 96 pitches and getting into some trouble, allowing a couple base runners, Framber did not implode, as he is prone to implode and spiral in the past. Espada pulled him just in time. So Brian Abreu comes into the game. He strikes out Nick Ahmed and then went on to give up an infield single to Gavin Lux. And right before Shohei Ohtani crossed the plate, former Astros legend Kike Hernandez, if you remember him from way back in the past, early 2010s, he overruns second base, and Alex Bregman, who pulled in front of Jeremy Pena to field the grounder, held the ball, was able to tag Kike Hernandez before Ohtani touches the plate, and the Dodgers remain scoreless and would for the final 2 innings of the night. Some Astros highlights on the night included Joey Porfido making a spectacular catch in left center field to keep the game scoreless at the time. Alex Bregman hit his 13th homer of the year, a solo shot. John Singleton hit a 2-run homer of his own, his 8th of the year. Jake Myers went 3 for 3 with a run scored. And Yainer Diaz also added 2 hits to include and really help the Astros offense win the game 5-0. A great night from Yainer, 2 more hits to add to his season total. Saturday was a wild one. Kind of reminded you of Game 5 of the 2017 World Series. Not quite as high scoring, but kind of the same. There were offensive fireworks, and, well, let's talk about it. The Dodgers jumped all over Ronel Blanco early and often, jumping out to a 5-0 lead, which Blanco gave up 4 of those 5 runs and did not make it out of the 5th inning. Blanco's numbers on the night: 4 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 earned runs, though he did have 9 strikeouts. But unlike Framber, Blanco was not very sharp in this one. Blanco's recent outings have been extremely concerning. And here are Blanco's last 6 starts. Now, not all of them have been, like I said, concerning, but some news and notes that are a little alarming. Blanco, 34 1/3 innings in his last 6 starts, 25 hits, 17 earned runs, 12 walks, and 35 strikeouts. He has a 4.46 ERA. So just a little bit of Blanco news. He hasn't been spectacular as of late. And, well, I mean, it's interesting that Blanco seems to be regressing back to, the normal Ronel Blanco, the guy who was a solid pitcher but not great. Even though Blanco had a great first half, his last 6 starts have not been good on paper, and so Ronel's going to have to figure it out. The Astros, as of right now, have not made a trade, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, And their starting rotation is Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Ronel Blanco, Spencer Arrighetti, and Jake Bloss. I mean, that is not going to probably win you a playoff series unless the first three you get victories. And well, that's just how it is right now. So Ronel Blanco, he's going to have to figure it out. Maybe not be in peak form as he was, for a while there. He had a sub 2.5 ERA roughly, right around in there. But if he could at least hold him to 6 innings of 3-run ball to give the Astros a chance, that would be much needed and much appreciated. He may not be the Ronel Blanco from the beginning of the year. And like I've been saying in my previous few videos previewing Ronel Blanco starts, he might have a little bit of dead arm, and some rest might do him wonders. We'll see what happens coming up. But like I said, I've been concerned with Blanco, for about a month now. And well, the numbers show he's been slowing down. So hopefully the Astros can get him back on track. Another thing I wanted to note from Saturday's game, as the Astros stormed back in with a bunch of singles in the 6th inning, RBI singles from Yainer Diaz, Jeremy Pena, Jake Myers, and Victor Caratini, who pinch hit for Mauricio Dubon, made put the score at the time at 5-4 until the 8th inning when Cavan Biggio hits a solo homer to make it 6-4 Dodgers. And well, a little news and something interesting from it. Here's the photo of Craig Biggio from when Cavan Biggio hit that home run. And well, he kind of seems conflicted, and I know there's a lot, and it's just speculating, but he was I'm not sure he was looking at in the stands, but he just seems conflicted of course, he's an Astros legend, a Hall of Famer, Astros Hall of Fame, the whole 9 yards, but he kind of seemed conflicted. There were a couple different photos. I'm just going to show the one here on the screen, but he kind of seemed conflicted that, of course, he wants the Astros to win, but at the same time, he wants his son to do well, and his son hits a home run against the Astros. I believe it was his second career against the Astros. So Cavan Biggio, homers, and Craig, his father's facial expressions just kind of seemed funny at the moment. Anyways, moving to the bottom of the 8th inning, the Astros get the singles train going again with Jeremy Pena and John Singleton knocking in RBI singles to tie the game at 6. And then after a 1-2-3 9th inning from Josh Hader, who slammed the door on 9 pitches, of course, we all know and remember what happens after this. Alex Bregman hits a walk-off solo homer. So from 5-0 to a 7-6 win. Where does this rank on your list of Astros wins this season? I think it's got to at least be in your top 5, if not top 3, for the entire season. So a great way to end Saturday, as it looked like it was going to be a dull, just kind of a gruesome loss of the Astros couldn't get much going. And then all of a sudden, the offense explodes from the 6th inning on, and they find a way to win 7-6. One of the best wins of the year for sure. It may even be right up there with the number 1, but nonetheless, one of the best. And that can be something you tell me down below in the comments if you think this is the best win of the year. If not, let me know what you think the best win of the year is. Sunday, the Dodgers would salvage game in the series with the 6-2 victory. Spencer Arrighetti had one of his best starts of his rookie campaign, 6 innings, a 3-run ball with 8 strikeouts. He made 2 mistakes, as both of those were sent out of the park for home runs, totaling all 3 runs he gave up. And even though it was a bounce-back start for Arrighetti, to his credit, he was outdueled by Dodgers rookie Ribber Ryan in his second career start. He went 5 2/3, giving up only 2 hits and 1 run allowed, matching Arrighetti's 8 strikeouts. The Astros had 4 hits in this game. They had a few chances here and there, but no offensive fireworks in this one other than Yainer Diaz's 2-run homer in the bottom of the 6th, giving the Astros a spark at the time, making it a 3-2 game. The Dodgers still had the lead. The Dodgers would go on to score 3 off the Astros bullpen to win 6-2 in the final 3 innings of the game, 2 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th. Brian King struck out Shohei Ohtani to end the game in the 7th, which was a big moment at the time, but the Astros failed to capitalize on some potential momentum they were hoping they were gaining, as they did not score in the 7th. And then after that, Brian King comes back out to start the 8th, much to the disarray of a lot of Astros fans, because we all thought Ryan Presley was going to come into the game, as he was shown as I was watching the game on TV warming up. Ryan Presley doesn't come in, and Brian King implodes a little bit, gives up 2 runs, and well, unfortunately, Espada made the wrong decision there, and I'll talk about here in a minute. Espada's questionable bullpen usage because the Astros have Jake Bloss starting in tonight's game in the season series opener against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So it's kind of questionable of what's going on right here and what happened in the last couple of games, really. So for starters, I think he still should have pitched Ryan Pressly, but the Astros offense really didn't show a ton of life. So I'm not saying they would have won the game. And who knows? They might have won, they might not have, but it also doesn't guarantee that Ryan Pressly throws a scoreless outing in this game, though Pressly has been your best reliever over roughly, I think it's his last 15 appearances. He's been your best reliever. So a little over a month and a half, the Ryan Pressly's been lights out, looking like the old Ryan Pressly. But I think on the flip side of that, Joe Espada, I don't blame him for trying to get Brian King through the eighth inning. It was a good spot in the order for him to try to work through. You also are going to need not everyone is going to be available every single night of the season. Brian Abreu, Ryan Pressly, and Josh Hader, and even Taylor Scott have been used a ton this year. And I think Joe Espada was just trying to see if Brian King gets out of that, maybe he can become another, not necessarily a high leverage reliever, but once a week, you might have to use him in a leverage situation because 2 out of 3 of Hader and Pressly or Hader and Abreu or Abreu and Pressly, they may not be available, and they're not going to be available every single night. So the Seth Martinez's and the Taylor Scotts and hopefully Brian King, if he can really become kind of a semi-leverage reliever, can get the job done as well. So I think Espada is just trying to find another reliever he can trust, potentially, hopefully for the Astros' sake, come playoff time to say, well, if we're in a situation, it's the 10th inning, you got bases loaded, or the 8th inning, you got bases loaded, and a lefty comes up, well, you throw Brian King in if another reliever like Pressly is struggling, and hopefully he can slam the door and help to bring the Astros a win late in the season or in the postseason. So he gave Brian King a shot, and unfortunately it backfired. You're not going to win every game to begin with, so it's kind of maybe he mismanaged the bullpen a little bit. Like I said, I still would have pitched Ryan Pressly, but Joe Espada's trying to push different buttons and see if he can get some other things to work and have some other options. The other issue I had, and now I understand the movement as right before my video, Caleb Ort, who pitched a couple games for the Astros, has been recalled, and Sean Dubin has been sent back down to AAA Sugarland. So the move makes a lot more sense now, but I'm still going to bring it up anyways. I was really questioning Joe Espada's bullpen moves over the last day or two because Sean Dubin had pitched 2 days in a row, and now it makes sense that they have sent Dubin back to AAA Sugarland, and Caleb Ort has been recalled. So if Jake Bloss gets into trouble, bringing up the fresh arm and Caleb Ort will give the Astros another weapon out of the bullpen tonight. And I would expect Caleb Ort might be the first guy out of that bullpen if Jake Bloss can only get you 3, maybe 4 innings to give you some length, because the Astros have used several relievers in the Dodgers series, and the bullpen is a little more intact. So it makes things a little less boggy for tonight's game now that Caleb Ort has been called up and we know the corresponding move. Sean Dubin has been sent down because Dubin had pitched a couple of days in a row. So that takes you all the way through the Astros versus Dodgers series. The Astros take 2 out of 3, and they remain by percentage points in first place in the AL West, because the Seattle Mariners were unfortunately playing the Chicago White Sox and they swept them. So now you are in a virtual tie with the Mariners for first place in the AL West. That's enough for your Astros versus Dodgers series recap. And the Astros play the Pirates beginning tonight. And let's take you back to last season, the most recent outing between the Astros and the Pirates. 2 former division rivals, as they were in the NL Central for a long time. And in a 3-game series in early April last year, the Astros took 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh. So that's just a quick look back against 2 former division rivals. The Pirates are a scrappy team at 53-52, and they are 7 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers in the NL Central. And then they are 2 games behind the Mets, who currently hold the final wildcard spot in the National League. So that takes us right into the Astros versus Pirates series preview. Your Houston Astros are 55-50, first in the AL West. The Pirates 53-52, as I just mentioned. They are third in the NL Central. Number one overall pick, Paul Skeens, takes the mound tonight for the Pirates. 6-1, a 1.93 ERA, 74 and 2/3 innings pitched with 97 strikeouts. His K strikeout percentage is through the roof. The guy can strike out any hitter in the game. He is phenomenal. There's a reason he was the number one overall pick out of LSU. Jake Bloss is mound opponent, so it is a battle of 2023 draft picks, as Jake Bloss was drafted 99th overall in the third round with the Astros. And Paul Skeens, of course, as we all know, out of LSU, was the number one overall pick. Just a little tidbit if you did not know too much about Jake Bloss. And of course, if you didn't know anything about Paul Skeens, well, there it is. Jake Bloss, 0-1, a 6.94 ERA, and 11 and 2/3 innings pitched. 16 hits, 11 strikeouts. Obviously, Paul Skeens was the number one pick, as I mentioned, and Jake Bloss was 99. So a little bit of a advantage to Paul Skeens. Not to say Jake Bloss can't pitch well tonight, but of course, Paul Skeens is the flamethrower and rightfully the number one pick. Taking you through Paul Skeens' last 3-game watch. We're not going to really count the All-Star game, though he was the National League starter and went 1 inning in that game. His last 3 outings, 7 innings against the Mets, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. And then against the Brewers, 7 innings, no runs when he was throwing a no-hitter that got broken up. And he gave up 1 walk and 11 strikeouts. And then in 8 1/3, 2 runs, both of them earned, 8 strikeouts against the Cardinals, suffering his first career loss. He was previously 6-0. I mean, what more can you say about Paul Skeens that hasn't already been said? He's a phenomenal pitcher, and if he stays healthy mostly throughout his career, it's easy to say he's got Hall of Fame potential. This is definitely a matchup to watch. Let's see if Jake Bloss can become big game Jake Bloss throughout his career and step up against Paul Skeens and give his best outing of his major league career. Now on to Jake Bloss. He will be making his 4th career start. His last couple of starts, he gave up 2 runs against Baltimore in 3 2/3, 4 innings, 2 runs against the Marlins, and then 4 innings of 5 runs against the A's, picking up his first career loss. His ERA sits at 6.94 through 3 career starts. But look at it. Paul Skeens was number one pick, but Jake Bloss isn't even supposed to be in the majors yet. Maybe he could have gotten a promotion to AAA if he had continued to pitch well at AA, which the Astros called him up straight from AA. He does have 1 AAA start under his belt, which was a rehab start, but Jake Bloss isn't supposed to be here yet. Maybe by 2025 he could have been called up, because the Astros have been aggressive in their 2023 draft picks of promoting them, because a lot of them have earned it. And Dana Brown, since he's taken over, has done a nice job with the Astros minor league system, really trying to replenish it as quickly as possible. And, well, Jacob Bloss isn't supposed to be here yet. The Astros have a ton of pitchers on the IL: Justin Verlander, Luis Garcia, Lance McCullers, Christian Javier, Kendall Graveman, Luis Garcia, Jose Urquidy, and the list goes on. There's a few more names. So Jake Bloss isn't supposed to be here yet, but to his credit, he's in the majors, and he's working his tail off, seeing what he can do for the Astros and give them all he's got. So that brings us to Game 2. The Pirates have a bold strategy so far, and they're going to pitch undecided. I mean, that's bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off, as that's obviously from the movie Dodgeball. But undecided will go against Hunter Brown. As of right now, as I'm recording this video, the Pirates have not named their starter, so that's why it says that. Hunter Brown, 9-6, a 4 ERA exact, 110 in the third innings pitched, 109 hits, and 118 strikeouts on the year. Hunter Brown has gone 12 consecutive starts of at least 6 innings, with 11 of those being quality starts. For the Astros' sake, let's hope Hunter Brown can give you at least 6 again and another quality start. He's been phenomenal as of late, as we'll go over his game logs again. Hunter Brown in his last start, 6 innings, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. He was a beast against the A's, and he was great against Seattle as well. He's earned a win in 3 consecutive starts now. The Astros really need to make it 4, because, well, the odds are probably heavily favoring the Pirates tonight, as Paul Skeens versus Jake Bloss. Maybe not heavily, but I would say the odds are definitely in the Pirates' favor tonight. I expect Jake Bloss is going to give it its all, but I definitely give the edge to the Pirates because Paul Skeens is on another level to Jake Bloss. But Hunter Brown's been phenomenal. He's picked up 4 wins in his last 5 starts. Let's see if he can make it 5 in his last 6 starts, as that takes us through game 2 of the series. And game 3 of the series is a battle between crafty veteran left-handed pitcher Martin Perez, a former Ranger. He's bounced around a few different clubs. He's 2-5 with a 5.20 ERA, 83 innings pitched, 105 hits, 63 strikeouts. Not much of a strikeout pitcher. Versus the other southpaw, the Astros' lone southpaw in their starting rotation, Framber Valdez, 9-5, a 3.43 ERA, 110 in the third innings pitched, 101 hits, 98 strikeouts, and 38 walks. As you can see some of the offensive numbers down here, the Pirates' biggest threat in their lineup, of course, they have O'Neal Cruz, the young stud, but Brian Reynolds is really the leader of that offense. 18 homers, 288 average, and 61 RBIs, including a 353 on-base percentage. And, of course, the Astros' offensive leaders, Jordan in homers, Altuve in batting average, and Yainer Diaz is the new leader in runs batted in. He's got 57 on the club. He's really come along this season after an extremely slow start, just like many of the Astros had an extremely slow start to the season offensive-wise, which is a big reason why they started 7-19. Now to take you through Martin Perez's recent game logs, 7 1/3 innings pitched against St. Louis in early July, 1 run against the Brewers, 4 2/3, 5 earned runs, and a loss, his 5th loss of the year. Against the Phillies, he did not get the loss, but he definitely deserved it. 3 2/3 of 6 earned runs. Wow, he got shelled in a couple of these outings, and then picks up the win in his last start on the 24th. 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, picking up his 2nd win of the season. And looking at his strikeout numbers, 13 in the past 4 games. That is an average of less than 4 per start. So like I said, not a big strikeout pitcher. He pitches to contact and hopes to get ground ball and fly ball outs. And he's a crafty veteran, so don't let his numbers fool you. He's been in the league a long time now, so he's obviously capable of getting the job done. Doesn't have great numbers on the year, but he can surprise you. So watch out, Astros, on Wednesday. And then his mound opponent, Framber Valdez, his last 4 starts got the win against Toronto, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Against the Marlins, got the win, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts, at the time a season high, his 8th win of the year. Against Seattle, the Astros won 5 2/3, 2 earned runs. And then his last start, 6 1/3, 4 hits, no earned runs, his 9th win of the year, and tying a season high 10 strikeouts. So the Astros, they're definitely going to have their hands full against the Pittsburgh Pirates here in this series. Unfortunately, there's no trade news to announce, but the Astros are focused on the Pirates. I still expect them to trade, at least for a starter at the deadline. I would love a bat for first base. I don't know if that's going to happen. As I record this video Monday afternoon, there's about 24, 25 roughly hours until the deadline. So we'll see if the Astros make a move, and I will break that news. Well, it won't really be breaking news at that time, but I will mention that in my next video, which is going to be on Friday when the Astros play the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays might have about 15 new players on the roster. By then, it seems as they are going through a fire sale, but we'll see what happens. Still a lot of trades I think are going to be made, maybe potentially another 10 to 15, and the Astros still have time to make a deal. I'm not panicking. I'm just a little, I would say, slightly disappointed so far because Seattle's made multiple moves, and even the Rangers made a move earlier today. I don't think it's going to be a blockbuster move for the Rangers there. They acquired a minor league pitcher, but nonetheless, they made a move so far. So the Astros need to, at some point, catch up. They're going to make a move, so I'm not in full-on panic mode. I just like everyone else, wants everything right away. The fan base is getting a little frustrated, but just hold on. Dana Brown's going to do something. We just don't know what it is yet. So thank you all for watching the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports, giving you the nothingness of the trade deadline. Just wanted to mention it. As like I said, the Mariners and Rangers have made moves so far. Your division is trying to get stronger. the Astros will make a move. And then, of course, your Astros versus Dodgers series recap and your Astros versus Pirates series preview as well. So that'll wrap it up with the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. Like my video down below. Feel free to comment. And, of course, subscribe to my channel. And I'll see all of you in the next edition of Clark Crawford Sports on Friday for the Astros versus Pirates series recap. Maybe a trade to announce, and I'll go through it, let you know my thoughts on that. And then, of course, your Astros versus Tampa Bay Rays series preview. And thank you all for watching, of course, as always.